Hi, this is Kevin for Passion for the Word. Today's video, cheating a little bit. The two men that have had the biggest influence on me spiritually, I guess you could say mentors. One, no mystery, I've mentioned him before, Chuck Missler. Unfortunately, Chuck, well, not unfortunately, not for him. He went home to heaven a couple of years ago. The other gentleman is still alive. I've been blessed to meet him twice. Talked to him on the phone. Actually, I talked to him earlier today and got his permission to use this. I was sure he'd be fine with that, but got his blessing. That would be Kent Hovind. Most of the stuff that I use of Kent Hovind's is when I'm doing creation evolution stuff. That's his main focus, but he's also a pastor and he does preach, and this is a sermon that he preaches on that I absolutely love the message behind it. Kent's stuff is great on the creation stuff. He used to do a lot of debating. Best when it comes to creation versus evolution, he's the man when it comes to the debates. There's one video out there, if you go look it up, 3-on-1 debate, him versus 3 professors, and by the time you're done watching it, you're feeling sorry for the professors because they're so outnumbered. And he'll come right out and tell you it's not that he's smarter than them, he just has the truth on his side. So with that, right before we jump in, remember we hit the like button, we'll put it there maybe, and subscribe button, which maybe I'm putting some tests for my wife because she showed me she could do this. So we'll see if we put the subscribe bell there maybe. No, there. We'll do that. Oh, we'll do that one there. We have a Facebook page. Go to it and like it. We got some other things that we're going to be getting done. We don't have them done yet, but with the political climate being what it is, in social media and everything, we're going to try to expand our ministry into some other areas. So if one shuts down, we're still good to go. So let's jump into this favorite one of mine. It's called Nails. Start off with Mark 6:3. Is not this, referring to Jesus, the carpenter, is not this the carpenter, the son of Mary, the brother of James and Joseph, and of Judah and Simon, and are not his sisters here with us? And they were offended at him. Jesus was a carpenter. He was trained by Joseph to be a carpenter. That's what he started out his career. He learned to be a carpenter. He used nails. Nails are quite important. They're mentioned throughout the Bible. In the book of Judges, Jael, Heber's wife, took a nail of the tent. We're talking a big, we'd call it a spike today, and took a hammer in her hand and went softly unto him and smote the nail into his temple. She drove a nail. He was laying down sleeping, drove a nail right through his skull. Killed the guy. He was a bad guy. And so he died. In 1 Chronicles, we have David prepared iron in abundance for the nails, for the doors of the gates, and for the joinings, and the brass in abundance without weight. Nails must be prepared. They don't just happen. You're not going to just find a nail producing itself a nail, or in nature. They have to be made. They have to be prepared. Just like God has to prepare us to do ministry. It just doesn't happen. God prepares us. Now in Isaiah 41:7, so the carpenter encouraged the goldsmith, and he that smootheth with the hammer him that smote the anvil, saying, it is ready for the soldering, and he fastened it with nails, that it should not be moved. The purpose of a nail is to hold things fast, to hold things in place. The carpenter decides where the nail goes. The nail's job is to stay put. Jesus is the carpenter. We're the nail. Where he puts us is where we're supposed to stay. We're supposed to do the job he puts us to. Nails are prepared and they're expected to do their job. Jeremiah 10:4. They deck it with silver and gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers. that it move not. What would happen if all the nails in the room that you're in just quit working? If all the nails just quit working. Some have a lot of strain on them, but they hold. Uh, a nail is just, it's very important to hold things fast. That's its job. Ecclesiastes. The words of the wise are as goads, and as nails fastened by the masters of assemblies. God is the ultimate master of assemblies, which are given from one shepherd. The master decides where the nail goes. If you were to take this nail and you're getting ready to drive it, and the nail says, no, I don't want to go there. Tough. I decide where you go. If I'm the carpenter. When the carpenter decides where you're going, that's where you go. Nails are driven by a blow to the head. God has to hit us in the head sometimes. Some will bend and fly away. Those can be kind of dangerous. Now, those that do run off with a lot of pounding with the hammer can sometimes be straightened with additional blows by the master. You can straighten a nail that has bent and failed. But each time you do so, it takes more hammer blows to get set back straight. It's kind of a lot, I would say it's a lot easier to just go where you're supposed to the first time. The nail's job is to let itself be beaten on the head by the master until it gets where it's supposed to go without bending. And it's supposed to stay straight under pressure. Now you got the serrations here, and we'll get into those here in a little bit, but they tend to help hold it. They help the nail become more committed to its job. Now there's underlayment nails. Now you notice the underlayment nail has serrations down its entire length. The purpose of an underlayment nail, it's used in flooring. And with flooring, I haven't done a lot of this kind of work. I've got a son-in-law a couple son-in-laws that they could go into a lot more elaboration on this, but you don't want the floor squeaking. So you've got the serrations the full length of it, because the floor gets walked on and that flexes things. This helps that nail be fully committed. Now, some of us in ministry are in a position where we get walked on a lot, and we need to be fully committed and to stay put, even under those circumstances. Some of us in our ministry, we will be like underlayment nails. Now, there's a common nail. A common nail tends to have a bigger diameter. This one's kind of stretched out in the picture, and they tend to have a bigger head. They're big-headed, they're big diameter, but they're the most common. That's why they're called a common nail. They do the bulk of the work. They hold the weight, but they're not seen. Typically, they're not seen. If you look around in the room you're in, take a guess. How many of those common nails do you think are probably in that room holding it together? How many of them do you see? God puts some people in positions where they aren't seen because they have a big head. They need to be in the support area. Pride is a dangerous thing. If you have a big head, God will probably put you in an area where you won't be seen for that sake. Now, this brings us to finish nail. Finish nail, small diameter, small. These tend to be, they're still somewhat hidden, but they're more visible. They're mainly hidden by their size. These teach us, these are for people that are more out in the front, that are more humble. You can't be doing things to be seen of men. You have to be doing things for God. The finish nail, the ministry with the finish nail is for someone that doesn't care to be seen by men. They just want to be seen by God. As Matthew 6, take heed that you do not your alms before men, your charitable deeds. to be seen of them. Otherwise, you have no reward of your Father which is in heaven. The lesson from the finished nail is, don't care to be seen. Just do my job. And we come to the double-headed nail. This is a kind of a neat one. It's designed to be moved. It's designed to come in and do a job for a time, to hold a board in place for a time. They use them in concrete a lot. And just sometimes when you see a building under construction, when they've got the skeleton up, they'll lean a board up against it and nail it in place to hold it there until they get some more structure there, like at the end of the day and while they're working on it. And they pull those boards out. These are the nails they use because it'll sink to there, but they can get the hammer on this real easy. They don't have to tear up the wood to get the claws underneath it. Now, whereas some people, their ministry is start to finish at a church. They start a church, they can start it, and they can grow it all the way. Other people, maybe they can start a church, but they can't grow it. Or they can come in the middle, but they can't, whatever the case may be, their ministry is of a more temporary nature. As far as in the location, be here for a while, do your job, move on there for a while and do your job. That would be a double-headed nail. Now, granted, I'm sure getting pulled out would be painful. The claw goes on the head and just yanks it right out. And being in a place that you have gotten comfortable it's never going to be comfortable being yanked out of there. It's going to be painful, but if it's what you're called to do, it's what you're called to do. This brings us to the hardened nail, or a masonry nail. Now, this nail is to be driven into cement. It's very hard. To be this hard, they're put in a fire. They're carbonized and put through the fire to test. Biblical tests by fire, it's throughout the Bible. After the fire, after the test, after the baking of this, it comes out harder. 2 Timothy 2:3. Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Christ. If you're put in a hard situation, stick to it. Now, these nails tend not to bend, but they do snap sometimes. If you're in a hard situation, you got to be careful. Don't bend, don't snap. This brings us to galvanized nails. And you can tell, I don't know if you can see it in the picture, but this is coated. Galvanized nails are to be out in the elements. They've got a special coating on them. They cost more, but if they're out in the elements, they last longer. Now, maybe God's putting a coating on you to be out in a ministry that is going to take its toll on somebody else, that somebody else would rust spiritually. They cost more, they take more investment, but if you're to be out in those elements, this is where your strength is supposed to be from. This unusual one, it's a tar paper nail. It would go underneath the roofing nail. When you put tar paper down, you nail this down, and it's soft and gentle. It holds the paper and keeps it, by being big like that. The metal part's fairly small, but by having that big ring, it holds the paper in place without, hopefully preventing it from ripping. It gently holds the tar paper. It has a little give. The main thing is gentle. Maybe you're in a ministry or in a position where you have to be really gentle. You have to have a little bit of give so that things don't rip. Now, if a carpenter runs out of nails, he stops working. If he bends a nail, he may take his hammer and give it some blows and straighten it, or he may pitch it. If one nail fails, it creates more work for all the rest of the nails. One nail failing in the certain situations could cause all the nails to fail. Half the nails that a carpenter picks up are facing the wrong direction, and he has to turn them around to drive them in. I'm blown away with this sermon, and that's why I wanted to share it with you guys. The number of parallels between our individual ministries and a nail, and the fact that Jesus used nails. I know the first time I heard this, I thought I want to pass this on someday. I hope this meant as much to you as it did to me the first time I heard it. Uh, Check out Kent Hovind's stuff, especially if you are uh, interested in the evolution creation stuff. We'll get back to some more of that. It's been a while since I've done a video on that, so we'll get back onto more of that here soon. Thank you. God bless.